My full name is Camille Lizette Merrick. I was born December 9th, 1997 at 11:19 p.m. This is my life story.
They say you're only young once, but we live for it, we die for it, we live for forever.
When I was born, there was a crazy whiteout blizzard wreaking havoc on the city of Denver. I went home to a house on the corner of Madison and 6th Avenue. This is where I spent my first 2.5 years of life. I had my first birthday party in this house, my first Christmas, and some of my first memories are from this house. This house is where I met my grandparents, my great-grandma, and most of my parents' friends that I can't imagine growing up without. At the end of my time at this house, my mom brought home someone that at the time I saw as a baby blob, but now is my best friend, my little sister. But before we get into that, my parents, who are super cool, were playing in a band called the Speedholes. The two of them have always been rock stars. My parents met at a Mudhoney show at the Vogue in Seattle, Washington in 1990. At the time, my dad was freshly out of medical school and playing in a band called Gorilla. My mom, who had grown up right outside of Seattle her whole life, had just gotten back from New York City. In 1993, my parents were married, and in 1995, they decided to pick up and move to Denver, Colorado. I've been told that I really wanted a little brother and sister, and Quinn was the answer to my constant asking for a sibling. She changed our family's life. We no longer had enough room in our little house, and after we woke up to the 5th car on our lawn, we decided to move. We found a place that we now call home 10 minutes away from our old house. Our new house was nice, but I didn't know anyone in the neighborhood or even on my block. I was 4-ish at this point and I wanted to make friends. My family met the one across the street, the Zillers. They had 3 little girls, but the youngest was the closest to my age. We were instantly friends. This girl's name was Maura, and we are still friends today. We even go to the same school. My family likes to call her the middle sister because even though she isn't related by blood, she is a sister in our eyes. After that, a boy a year older than me moved to our neighborhood. His name was Gianni. We also got to know another boy down the street named Jeremy. For a long time, the 5 of us were the best of friends. Then school started. We all went to elementary school at Corey Elementary. I have fond memories of the school, but I also remember I couldn't wait to leave. In 5th grade, Gianni's mom got in some trouble in Colorado and moved to Connecticut. We learned that later they moved to Italy. I have friends from this school that I could never forget, like the one of my best friends to this day, Marie Smith. I also had my first experience running backstage of a show there. I had wanted to try out, but I had the flu the week of tryouts and ended up backstage making costumes. This experience sparked my love for stagecraft. I proceeded to audition for Denver School of the Arts. Sometime in the midst of elementary school, my uncle met a girl named Catherine who had a son just a few months older than my little sister. Sam and Catherine got married, and I gained a cousin who is literally my favorite person on the planet Earth. I was accepted into DSA for stagecraft and design and started a long process of making perfect cubes. Mr. Rice was absolutely my favorite teacher ever. He taught us about lighting theory and how to correctly light a stage and set a mood for a scene. I learned a lot about the way that humans think and how they can be influenced. In my 7th grade year, I had a teacher named Azar Kazadi. She introduced us to novels like Forgotten Fire, The Book Thief, and Kaffir Boy. This class was the first time I was introduced to the not-so-cushy parts of the world. This class got me very interested in how I could help people around the world for a little while. I even wanted to join the Peace Corps and help as many people as I could. I quickly realized that the Peace Corps was not the place for me and turned my attention to other things I could do to help. Also during this year, a very close family friend died very unexpectedly, and for a long period of time I felt like I had lost a crazy uncle that everyone loved. We are still very close with his sons, and we haven't lost the brotherly sisterly connection. In 8th grade, I got the chance to go to Washington, D.C. with 40 kids from my class, and I was so excited. This trip was a great opportunity to go to a place that I'd never been before, and with a group of people that I like. Turns out this was also a great learning opportunity for me and sparked an interest in history that I still have today. Later that same summer, my family traveled to Europe on a trip for my dad's World Conference on Lung Cancer. We met up with my cousin when he was with his dad in England for the summer, and then moved on to Amsterdam where my dad's conference was. We then made plans to meet up with some of my parents' friends from Seattle and Paris. This was the last time I ever saw Kim alive. We then took the train to Italy, where I got in touch with my old friend Gianni, who is now living about an hour from where we were staying. We got together and hung out in a place called the Cinque Terre. From there I moved to a new school where I didn't know anyone or I hadn't seen them in years, and I was terrified. I quickly made a friend of someone who I knew earlier on in life, and slowly I was accepted into her friend group. About halfway into the school year, a girl transferred from George Washington, and me and her were friends immediately. She convinced me to join the stagecraft program in South, and it sparked the love for stagecraft back up, and I have stuck with it for the last 3 years. I'm now a junior looking at colleges and just hoping that one of them likes me well enough to let me in.